This is 1 in 44, a presentation of Anderson Center for Autism. 1 in 44 is a weekly show devoted to autism spectrum disorder.
Good morning and welcome to 1 in 44, the weekly talk show on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, Chief Development Officer at Anderson Center for Autism. And this morning I'm talking with Rita Saliba from Blissful Seeds Incorporated. Rita, good morning. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. The 1 in 44 podcast is really dedicated to highlighting all sorts of activities, research, opportunities, events, other nonprofits, individual people, authors, anybody who's doing something kind of interesting in the field related to autism. We want to talk about it here on 1 in 44. And we found Blissful Seeds, and I know you're located, I think, out in California, right?
San Diego, California, correct.
Okay, beautiful. And we wanted to invite you on to tell our listeners about yourself, your family, your story, how Blissful Seeds came to be, and then what it is, and maybe some hopes for the future, and how people can get involved and what that means. So after this introduction, I just want to hand it over to you, Rita, to talk about wherever you'd like to start your story. You go ahead, and I'll probably pepper in some questions along the way.
All right. So I am, to start with, I'm the mother of two boys. Both of them have special needs. Christopher is 13. He has ADHD and anxiety. And Michael has autism. He turned 11 in July, so he's 11 and a half. When you have children and when your children are born, you wanna give them the world. You wanna, practically, die for them. And when you have a child that is going to have a life full of struggle, not because of who he is, but because of what's not going to be available for him later on in life, this is what brings, I think, the heartache for every parent of a child with autism, because it's not about, in advance all the things that your son is not gonna be able to do and is not gonna have. Mm-hmm. And with Michael, we started with that heartbreak very early on, with the school district, not the fault of the school district, but the lack of, the lack of therapies and the lack of ways, to perceive, not every child with autism does well on that specific kind of therapy or that specific kind of intervention. And this is how we started our struggle with Michael, because he could not fit in that mold that was created for children with autism in the area here where we are.
Right. I read that in your on your website. There's a really beautifully written story. And what stood out to me was that I just wanted to highlight one of the things you just said about sort of, there was an expectation that you write about that he fit into a mold, that he fit into something else. And yes. He didn't, I think he tried several different schools. Is that true?
Correct. Yes.
Right. And there was no real perfect fit, which I think a lot of families would, that would resonate with a lot of families who are sort of looking for this, there should be a match. There should be something that's there that you can give to your child that helps them thrive in the world, and not finding that causes so much distress. I just wanted to.
Yes. For us, I wasn't looking for the perfect fit. I was looking for a place that would be willing to accommodate and would be willing to work with him, and not, have this perceived conception that, this is a child with behavioral issues, then he is not capable of doing anything. And, all we have to do is just to basically control these behaviors, or let him be and not engage with him at all, so we don't cause more behaviors. This is my experience. I know that it's not the same experience for everybody, but this is the reason why I I decided to take matters in my own hands. Like I realized that the system, whether, intentionally or unintentionally, and I'm not here talking, against anybody. It's just that for us, we could not find a place that will allow my son to thrive. And I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to waste more years with the hopes that one day we will find that place. So I wanted to create something. And for, the school, yes, you can homeschool your kid if you don't find a place that, works for you and your family. But when the child gets older, what are we going to do as parents with our children? Right. Especially those kids who will continue to require support. I feel like, and I don't know how it is on the East Coast, but I feel like, everybody assumes that, okay, we do early intervention, we do support during the early years of school, and then all of a sudden autism is going to disappear and those children are going to, grow up to have a normal life. It's not the case. It's not the case for almost everybody. Right. So instead of, trying to work on what they should not be doing and what they should hide in order to fit in any company or in order to be able to get any kind of work, I wanted them to still be who they are and still provide them with that chance of participating back in a community. So this is the idea of Blissful Seeds. This is why Blissful Seeds came to exist. Okay. I didn't want my kid to be living in after I die or, after I get to an old age where I cannot give him the care that he needs. I didn't want him to simply go and live, and be, like in a group home where, yes, he will get his food and a couple of volunteering hours here and there. This is not the life that I want for my kids. I wanted him to experience work. I wanted him to experience getting paid. I wanted him to experience feeling that he is giving back to his community. Because growing up, it was one of my blogs that I wrote. It was very, it was a memory for me. The first paycheck that I got from my first job, I still remember that feeling. And this is the experience that I wanted my kid and others like him to live too. And you have to see it still to this day, almost 2 years after, the joy that writing a simple check for them brings me and brings them is so rewarding and so uplifting to me. We are giving them the opportunity to feel dignified, to feel human, to feel, which is their right. Like we're not giving them something that is like a privilege. We're allowing them to do something which has been given to them when they were born as a human right, which is to feel that they matter, that they are worthy, that they can contribute to the society. And this is what I advocate for now. I don't want people to keep talking about deficits. I don't want people to keep talking about what our children cannot do. I want them to see that there is a place for them in the world. I mean, if we needed everybody to become a lawyer or to become an engineer or to become a scientist, then, who's gonna do the other things? There is a place for artists. There is a place for entrepreneurs. There's a place for artisans. There's a place for everybody. And my people, I call them all my kids, they're happy coming to the workshop. They're happy working with me. They give me hugs. They love me. And I know that this is genuine love. So, Blissful Seeds started as a mission to plant the seeds of a blissful life, which is why we picked the name. But it's given me that bliss that I lost also with my, when I got the diagnosis for Michael and when I became isolated and only looking at what my son is not gonna do. It's changed my whole world. It's changing the world of those kids that are working with me. And I'm hoping we can continue. I'm hoping that we can continue to grow, and we can encourage other people to follow suit. It's not, it takes a lot of work, but it is not impossible.
No, I appreciate all that background, Rita. This is, and it's actually, I can assure you that I keep hearing this more and more with lots of different people that I interview on this podcast. This idea that you just explained, the mission to plant a seed of a blissful life, but that you are also getting this component out of your work, your experience that was not. It didn't start as the primary goal for you to feel more connected, for you to come out of isolation. I always go back to this sense of just sort of doing the right thing. And that could mean so many different things to so many different people. But for you, it sounds like when all those pieces start to fit in and you start to realize the impact you're having for these kids, you call them your kids who are working with you, and then the impact also on the futures for your sons. And then that additional piece for you, it must be rewarding while still challenging. Yeah. I appreciate you sharing that. We're going to take a short break. When we come back for the second half, I'd love for you to bring us through kind of some of the day by day or daily things that occur at Blissful Seeds and what you're making and where people can go to get more information. This is 1 in 44, the weekly talk show on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm news correspondent Bob Woodruff. In 2006, a roadside bomb struck the armored vehicle I was riding in while reporting from Iraq. I sustained a life-threatening traumatic brain injury. The military term "got your six" means I have your back, and that day, our service members had mine. During my recovery, I learned firsthand the challenges facing our service members who return home with injuries. While serving, their fellow service members always had their six. Now that they're home, it is our turn. We started the Bob Woodruff Foundation to make sure that the camaraderie and support they relied on in the military carries on, and we need you. Please join us as part of the Got Your Six initiative and help us be there for impacted veteran service members and their families. They've had our backs. It's time we have theirs. Learn more at gotyoursix.org. That's gotyoursix.org. Using the number 6.
And now, 1 in 44 continues on 100.7 WHUD. This is a weekly community affairs program presented by the Anderson Center for Autism.
Welcome back to 1 in 44, the weekly talk show on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, and with me today is Rita Saliba from Blissful Seeds, Inc. And you can get more information by going to, it's blissfulseedsinc.org.
No, it's just blissfulseeds.org.
All right, blissfulseeds.org. Take out the ink. So, Rita, you gave us a great sense of your background, your sons, Christopher and Michael, where the inspiration for Blissful Seeds came from. And for this part of the show, I'd love for you to get into maybe paint us a picture, if you can, of where you are. What does this place look like that these folks are coming in and working with you? And then you can get into, all the things that you're making and how people can get involved and support. But I'd love to get just an idea of what does the space look like?
Yes. So when we started, we started in the midst of COVID. So we didn't have a place, but we didn't want to, all the work that I was doing in preparation for launching Blissful Seeds, I didn't want it to go, to be wasted. So we started, I videotaped, I had my son actually videotape me doing the first batch of soap, and I sent it to all my friends who have children with autism and who had the same problem that, with COVID, they are staying home. Distance learning is not the best way for them to learn, or it's not at all the way for them to learn. So they were sitting home, getting bored and, feeling the isolation and all of that. So, some parents wanted to do something with them. So they took that video and they started teaching them how to make the soap. I would drive with my car. I would give them the raw material and all the, the equipment that they need.
Okay.
They would do them. And then I would drive back and pick them up and give them a check. This is how it started for probably the first 10 or 11 months of our
that's
journey.
Great. That's brilliant. You brought the experience to them during the pandemic. That's great.
Yes.
Very cool.
And then when things started a little bit opening up, we got into 2 farmers markets in the area, and we started, selling on a weekly basis. So we needed more production. My church actually offered me their kitchen for a few months, and then they needed the kitchen for other purposes. So we got to the point like, what are we gonna do? So my husband came with the idea that let's change our, we have a big garage. We have a four-car garage. So we made our workshop there. We we had a sink built in. We had, tables and outlets and all these things. And now they come to my garage. They come 3 times a week. They're divided in 3 groups. They come with their job coach or their aides, depending on every person, what do they have. We work from 10 to 1:30, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I have one guy who started with me since the beginning. His name is Matthew. He's, he has been with me since the first farmers market. Yes. He now has become very independent in running the farmers market on his own. So he does 2, one in Wednesday and one in Friday on his own. He goes there, he puts the setup, he handles the, everything. And then on a Saturday, I have a young man. He's still in school, but his mom has a goal for him to, teach him how to, be working with people. So I support him every Saturday at the Del Mar Farmers Market. And then on Sunday, we just had a new person starting with us. He is also very capable and very happy to be with us. He started also doing the Sunday market, which is our biggest market in La Jolla. So we have totally about 12 kids who work with us. Some of them come to the workshop, and we work on soaps, we work on jewelry, we work on bath bombs, we work on resin art. I'm very lucky because the guy that does the resin art and the girl that does the jewelry, they are so artistic that I taught them the principle of how to make things, but now I don't have to supervise them. It's their work, it's their creation, and they're amazing. They make me so humble. They make me so happy, Yeah. And we sell also online on our website. We have been, we were showcased on the news a couple of months ago, which actually brought a lot of awareness that we exist, and, people started learning what we do. So we have been invited to so many also, pop-ups, all the big nonprofits, when they do their fundraisings, they are allowing us to have a table to showcase our products, sell a little bit. So things have been crazy busy, which, like I said, brings me joy. I keep saying, to everybody that knows me, I mean, my baby Blissful Seed was the best therapy for me. Yeah. I don't see the world as daunting, black, gray, all the things. I see it as I see my son belonging to something when he's older, and this is what every parent wants for their children is,
Absolutely. So. I love this story. I think it's great. And congratulations on such success so quickly. It's really a new business.
Thank you.
Yes. I want to encourage our listeners, if you are in the California area or you're going out there to San Diego area, go to one of these farmers markets and take a look for Blissful Seeds. I want to remind people that we're looking at Blissful Seeds .org for the website.
Correct.
I was on there this morning, and I got to tell you, there's a nice variety that you have for sale. I love that. I mean, they all seem really perfect for various types of gifts, and the stories, right? Your story is right there, and you can really feel connected to the people you just spoke about. So I think this is great. I think this is there seems to be a growth of the number of families who are taking, parents especially, who are taking things that they're passionate about or had some interest in, maybe even before having children, and they're finding a way to marry the advocacy and the opportunities that they can create for not only their loved one, but also others on the autism spectrum with something that they're passionate about. And that seems to be, to me, a recipe for success, because if you're doing something Correct. That you don't also like, chances are it's not going to continue or be successful. But if you can find a way to do both, then it has that added benefit we talked about before, where here you are now going out to farmers markets and working with individuals and getting out of that sense of all you're thinking about is
smiling smiling and being happy again, finding my purpose and not only their purpose. I don't know. I mean, I can't stop talking about it. So yeah, I'm so proud of everything they have accomplished. And like I said, they teach me as much as I teach them. They are amazing people, and we all deserve a chance, we all deserve to belong somewhere and to feel that we are loved and appreciated. So
I couldn't agree more. And I think we'll circle back to what you said in the very beginning, that you were looking for a place that would be maybe not a perfect fit, but a good fit for Michael when all of this started. And
yes.
and it sounds to me like you ended up with a great fit. Maybe not in a school setting, but a great sort of life fit for you and for these other folks who are working at Blissful Seeds with you, and in the future for your children. So I think it's sometimes life moves in mysterious ways, right? And
yes.
I'm just pleased for you, and I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And remember, let's just throw out the website again. It's blissfulseeds.org.
And we ship everywhere in the U.S. too, so they don't have to be local to support the cause.
That's great. And I saw on the website that you can buy items. You can also just make a straight donation to continue Blissful Seeds work. And if you're in the area, again, you're at the farmers markets. Is there anything that you want our listeners to just, maybe in just a minute or so, for the your future plans or something you're hoping to see as Blissful Seeds continues?
Yes, I'm hoping to branch out, because I don't want them to be following my dream, which is like making these kind of products. So my dream is to have everybody who wants to come and work with me. My dream is to be able to support them in making what they want. So this is why we're raising money now for those who have some sensory problems, do not like to work with the soap, or do not like to touch the bath bombs when we're mixing the bath bombs. So I want it to be a place where they can have their own voice. So we're starting to do more woodwork. We're starting to do other things, and we need support, and we need donations to keep on doing that for them.
Well, I wish you the best of luck with all of that. That sounds like a really nice natural step in the the next step maybe for you. And again, Rita Saliba from Blissful Seeds. That's blissfulseeds.org. Are you also on social media? Can people find you there?
We are, yes, on Facebook and Instagram.
Wonderful. So Facebook and Instagram, and at blissfulseeds.org. Rita Saliba, thank you so much for coming on the show today and talking to us about your journey and that of your children, and all about Blissful Seeds. I wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you. I really appreciate you.
All right. This is 1 in 44, the weekly talk show on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, and remember, Anderson cares.
You've been listening to 1 in 44, a weekly presentation of the Anderson Center for Autism. Join us for another edition of the show at this time next weekend.